Morning everybody, welcome to a Sunday Q&A. Admittedly not the first thing on a Sunday, but on a Sunday, nevertheless, I am catching up. So, what we got this week? Firstly, for the introduction, Ian Merrick says, bearing in mind the fact I've got the new bins, can we now start with a classic line from the two Ronnies? In a packed programme tonight, we'll be talking to the man who decided to go in for meditation because he said it's better than sitting around doing nothing. And we'll be talking to the car designer who crossed Quasimodo with Toyota and got the hatchback of Notre Dame. That's the other guy. Yeah, you're welcome in. Won't give up the day job, eh? Right, what we got this week? First a shout out to Lee Allen, bless him. He's proper off the road now. He's off the road till March, which we kind of knew anyway. With his broken collarbone, he's had a plate fitted in his shoulder, and he's really missing the class 2. He's got plenty of time for revision. That's if we ever get the opportunity to get onto the class 2, because we're in another lockdown. Because the whole thing's gone super crazy because of the new strain. So just one step at a time, isn't it, really, guys? To be honest with you. And he also said the thing about width restrictions. We've had one up on width restrictions. He said, what we used to say on the coaches is if your mirrors will go through, the rest will follow. He said, I use this mantra to this day. That's fine, except for the fact that if the width restrictions are this high and the mirrors are this high, it doesn't always help. Although I always say, trust your mirrors. Your mirrors don't lie. If they say you're going to miss it by that much, you're going to miss it by that much. They say you're going to hit it by that much. See above answer. Right. Running over Christmas has been the big one this week, to be honest with you. I have got a load of videos lined up from days of old, which I will get around to doing next week. It just is a matter of getting back on the horse. I mean, I'll be honest, from my point of view, was going to go out Monday, didn't happen. Tuesday helped a mate with removal. Wednesday and Thursday, I did one job both days and then came home. I kind of figured it was better than nothing. And then Friday, bang, proper back on it. I did an early one out of Slough, picked up at 7 in the morning, had that off by 9, and then I managed to get, and then maybe even earlier than that. So a little one, and then another little one, and then I had a big one going from kind of Birmingham way down to Hayes, and I even give him it cheap because I was going that way anyway. Back on target, and I've got Slough tomorrow morning at picking up at 3:15. So I should be up at 2 o'clock tomorrow, which I'm not relishing, but hey, got to get back on the horse. As Mark Lachlan says, he says, if I get 500 quid, I'm happy. I presume that's a week. Starting back on the 11th. Yeah, the 11th is probably about the best time to start back. Although the longer you're off, the harder it is. I remember my father-in-law saying once, he says, we went on holiday to France for 3 weeks. He said, and my dad said the same. We once did like a long cruise for we had money, my family back in the day. We went to Australia. And he said getting back to work was virtually impossible. That would sometimes make me wonder if you're better off just doing the odd bit here and there in between, just to keep your hand in so it's not so scary going back. Having said that, the rest was really nice. I didn't get up and I didn't wake up until about 9:30 this morning, so I'm still in a Christmas holiday mode. And I've got to say, I like this sleep, like, it's dead handy. Look at his face, doesn't get enough. Arpad says it's really quiet out in our area. Hopefully things should really start to ping up properly from Monday. We've got the lockdown to face, but that aside, the Christmas thing should hopefully be slightly out the window by now. Domain name guy says it's very quiet. He said it's always the same when he was an agency driver. Yeah, so I think that's kind of his par for the course. Chris C says, he says recently, he said the distance to pick up has been longer than the job, so you end up doing double the miles. Which I get the point. If the job's only going to be a 50-mile job and you've got to drive 60 miles to pick it up, you've done 110 miles by the time you've finished, but you're still only quoting on the 50 miles. And unless it's in between, unless you go 60 miles and then 50 miles back towards home and you've only got 10 miles to go back, which can work, you've got the journey home as well. And by the time you take your days out, you start to think, is it worth it? Like, you know? Van on the run says it's hard. He said he was a good mount the horse. Goes, it's hard to mount the horse after a decent break. He's taking this opportunity to change his van. I'm curious to know what you're going for, my friend. Let me know, please. Obviously, it's going to be a Luton curtain with a tail lift, but or the best you can get, is what I say. Right, on to miscellaneous now. It's just a short one today, guys, so I won't drive you mad. Thurrock Dashcam says he's been quoted £3,000 for haulage insurance. He's 24. He has no claims on vans, but he's got 3 years on a car which he can't use. Is this dear? I don't think that's particularly dear. I'm 50. when I was getting van insurance of 50 with no claims vehicles on a commercial, I was getting 1,800. And I'm not in a high risk area as well. My friend Martin, who lives like one postcode down the road, would get an awful lot more money. What he actually said to me, and he said, I'm going to park my van 5 minutes away here in the up the yard, because the postcode, what he said he didn't. He said, I'm going to say I'm parking it up the yard. Get the farmer's postcode, because it takes my insurance down to 400 quid. It's always in my back garden behind locked gates. It's not going anywhere. So, but no, I don't think £3,000 is particularly that. I would say get as many quotes as possible. We use Business Choice Direct. I recommend them. I think they're good, but don't take my word for it. Try as many people as you possibly can. Get the best quote you can. I'll do a link in case you want to do the Business Choice Direct. But I would say if you're going to get 3 or 4 quotes, get one from them as well, because I think they're pretty good. But and they pay me. CJ Brad, he says, thinking of joining, do you have to be limited? Nope, I'm still not limited. Oh, the things I've got to get around, I've got to sort the accounts out and get limited, but my accountant retired at Christmas time, plus everything else that's gone on top, it's all, well, I'll get there, I'm not worried, it's in QuickBooks, it'll sort itself out. And as for limited, it's something else that is on our list of things to do, but no, you can go on as a sole trader, it's no problem. You can just join, it's fine. Englishman in England says the new 2020 DAF night heat of the XS40 is too complicated. This is the problem with many things in life. When I used to work in an office, I spent a year working in an office, hated it. We used to have to, I ended up doing like the photocopying. The photocopy machine would break, we'd call the engineer out. And this photocopy machine, we had to do colour and resizing the documents and down the side and all that. And I turned around to the geezer, I said, what's the best photocopy machine out there, mate? He says, the basic one. The one that just does black and white, one copy at a time. He said, so don't break. Don't overcomplicate things. As my cousin Daniel says, he said, I don't want a gold yacht. I don't want a car made of diamonds. I just want things to work. Don't overcomplicate it. That's my take on things. Sal says, how much would you expect to earn on a quiet month on the CX? He didn't actually specify. Did he specify a van on here? Oh, it depends on the size of the van, my friend. There is a link to how much you can make. I would watch that video. It's probably about right. Maybe take 20% off, because it's cheaper for January, but you can still do it. I would say I would expect to earn in a Luton van on a quiet week. I'd still want to bring in 750 quid, and that's on a quiet week. That's like, what's that a day? I got my maths, like £150 a day. That's 2. You should still be able to do that in a small van. You want to be bringing in 250, 300 on a quiet week. That's a very quiet week, I would expect. But who knows? The world has changed. It's a new playing field out there, isn't it? Really? So. Lee Westcott says, do you find second-hand vans with no VAT are priced higher and easier to sell? I don't know about that. What I have found is van prices have gone through the roof. I think a lot of people have maybe got redundancy, or have... I was on Roberto Peroni during the week on Free Counties Radio. I don't know if anyone heard me, because they were doing things about the fact that apparently Ford Transit is the best-selling vehicle in the Ford range. It outsells the Focus, or the whatever it's called now. It's being Escort in my day. We had a long conversation about vans, and I think a lot of people have actually taken redundancy, or have been furloughed, or have used their savings, or are currently out of a job and have decided, I'm going to go and buy a van. Everything's getting delivered now. I'm going to go and do some delivery. So I think that's got a lot to it. I think that's what raised the prices slightly as well. I say slightly. Oh, good. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. So I'm in lorries, aren't I? So domain name guy says, back in the day, hang on. Ta-da! Way! Suddenly the writing gets really big. Back in the day, the best way out the best way is getting out of a 7.5 ton truck. The best way out of a 7.5 ton truck on the roller shutter was to grab the strap and jump down, well before health and safety. I know what it means, because the roller shutters are balanced on a weight. So you could grab the shutter, jump out, and because I used to have that with Shirley, the first 7.5 ton. Now, but having said that, and that's why I love his channel, I'm just going to leave him on. It's just getting silly. I can't get me around these things. I don't even know what it says. I think Tidge Plus, whoever it was, thank you very much for the tip. He said, store a ladder on the back of the inside door on hooks. Now, my father-in-law used to be a roofer, and as a result of which, I've got a ton of aluminium ladders all over the shop because he didn't need them anymore. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get some hooks and a ladder on the back, and then when you open the back door, I can just go in and out. Fantastic tip. Thank you, my friend. Cheers. P. Freddie Fletcher says he wants to get a Luton half curtain tail lift and go tramping. What is a realistic wage? Realistically, I mean, it's tough at the moment, but if things were good, I would say in a Luton with a curtain side, and you're prepared to travel and you're prepared to go tramping. I bumped into two guys once who had the same kind of setup, and they were making the money I was making in a truck. They were bringing in 2K, 2.5K a week. But admittedly, he said, I've had a job up to Aberdeen, I've been staying overnight, I'm driving all the time, I start at like raving early in the morning, I can take me breaks but finish late at night, but you can make serious money if you're in a Luton and a curtain side and you'll go anywhere and you're prepared to stay out. So I would say really, even in the quiet times, if I wasn't bringing in 1,500 quid a week, and I was, don't get me wrong, and the jobs were there, and I was, because you see the problem I've got is a job comes up and I go, oh yeah, I can't take that one because I can't get home, some of my drivers has, or if I take that one, I'm going to end up over there, I don't want to end up over there. But if you can take whatever jobs are up, I would think if you want bringing in £1,500 a week, I'd be disappointed. You've got to take your exes out of that, that's not profit. But if you're going to go for it, that is the way to go for it. Tiffy Oso Cornwall says, do you pay weekly? Oh, on the VAT. Do you pay weekly, monthly, or yearly? And it's big time. It's still getting itself sorted. The trick is not to spend it. The trick is when basically, if you do a job and the job is £100 plus VAT, when the job gets paid at £120, just stick the £20 to one side, and then it doesn't matter whether you pay weekly. I recommend if you're just a like just sort of running for yourself, go on the flat rate scheme, pay the 10%, which means I think you can't claim back on your fuel and you can't claim back on your wear and tear and your boots and stuff like that. But you put it out at 20%, you charge 20% and you pay the VAT man 10. No headaches, nice and easy. That's the oversimplified model, and that's probably wrong because a lot of the stuff that I say is wrong or at least largely inaccurate. But look into it. I would say that would be the way I suggest. As far as we're concerned, like I say, what with the Brexit and then the COVID and then trying to sort everything out, it's all over the shop. It's there. It's just waiting to launch really. So Lee Glover says, if you need a transport manager, follow the link below. I have a transport manager and he's lovely. He's superhero Daniel transport manager. But if you go to the comments, there's a link. You click on. Lee, if you want to get in touch with me, we can maybe sort something out so I can put something on the website, because I'm quite happy to steer people. If it helps people, how do I get a transport manager? I've got a guy. Just talk to me. But in the meantime, if you go to the comments and you look on Lee Glover's comment, there's like a link underneath. I don't know how to set these things up. I can do some. I can do YouTube. I can't do others. And just click on that. If you need a transport manager, guys there. Ace's Crown says he's thinking of getting 2 vans, drivers, and sending them out on delivery routes. What advice can I give? My advice is don't run before you can walk. I would say do it yourself first, so you've got an idea of how it works, so you can be realistic. And when they go, I can't do this, I can't do that, you go, yes, you can, because I've already done it. Also, try to get your own customers if you can first, because the exchange is great for backloads, but it would be better if you could get your own customers. Failing that, you can run them off the exchange. It does happen. So, but my advice would be try it yourself first to learn it, and try and get your own customers. Andreas says, how long do you wait for your money from the CX? It depends. The CX doesn't pay you. All the CX does is it's like a middleman that connects you with, I've done a video on how the CX works, I'll put it up, with someone else who needs you. So some guy needs something moving and you're there to move it, and the CX is the conduit in between that connects the two of you. Some people, they say, pays for the right money, pays this day. That just means they want it cheap. Some people will pay in 24 hours. Some people will say they pay 60 days from the end of the month, and 90 days later you're still chasing them. It depends on the firm. But on the whole, I would say if you give yourself a 2-month leeway, if you've got enough to go for 2 months, you should be okay. 3 months would be better. 2 months should be okay. Ian Merrick says, people on Facebook are getting annoyed because the fuel card prices are increasing despite the lockdown. And what about LPG conversions? My fuel card prices have stayed relatively okay. I think we're paying about 95. It's not the cheapest, but it's not bad. It was a lot better than it was before. Yeah, let me know what everyone else is paying, just in case I'm wrong. As for LPG conversions, I was always put off because of the massive outlay. To get an LPG conversion, it might cost you like 1,500, 2 grand. Although if you actually look at it, I think, and also there's extra weight on the vehicle, and I never really trusted that they were going to work okay with the engine. I don't know why, but an argument can be made that you get the thing converted over to LPG, and I might look into this actually, and you get your money back in 3 months because it's so much cheaper. And then of course, then there's the gun they fill up everywhere, and I don't know. I've never done it, but again, throw it out to anyone with the superior knowledge. Anyone know anything about LPG? Can we get back to Ian, please? Thank you. Harry Horton says he's done Courier Expert. He says they will negotiate with you. He has gone in high before. I presume he means go in high and then let them knock you down a bit. Again, I think the thing about Courier Expert, the general rule of thumb is it's very, very cheap if you want to go on it, but it hasn't got the amount of jobs as CX has. So, again, not something I really know because I don't do it. Robert Driscoll says he's a self-employed taxi driver and my videos have helped. Robert, you're welcome. Thank you very much for watching. Gary Irons says, what's it like in the northeast in Newcastle? Not the best area, not the worst area. It's not Norwich, it's not middle of Wales, it's not Penzance, and it's not middle of Scotland. And I've done this countless times. You can get jobs. I mean, I used to live in Middlesbrough. You can get jobs out of Borough, you can get jobs out of Newcastle, you get Stockton, you get Darlington, you get York, you get Durham. They're not to the same level as you would if you was in the Manchester area, or if you was in like where I am in the southeast. Like, you'll get jobs, you won't get so many. It's better for you if you're prepared to tramp. Because if you're prepared to tramp and if you're prepared to stay out overnight, it doesn't matter where you are. Your first job takes you out, and then it's wherever it goes, isn't it? Really, but it does work. It's not, like I say, it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. Domain name guy says, this is a good point. I didn't quite get his point, but he said the difficult we got at the moment. It is a problem in January, and I think this is partly true. It's the fact that we are competing against people that have got their own drivers, and it's like we're doing jobs in the trucks, which we probably wouldn't have done before for cheaper, but it's either pay the lorry to sit there, the lorry's just sitting there depreciating, and you pay in a driver to sit at home, when you go, well, look, I might as well just send him out on that Mickey Mouse job. It's got to go a bit further to pick it up. He's got, it won't make as much money as we would like, but at least he'll cover his wages for the day. And we previously wouldn't have done that, which means we're taking the job away from someone else. And if you've got a fleet of lorries, and there's, you've got to pay the drivers anyway. You're going to say that, okay, well, I've got a fleet of lorries, I've got an 18 tonne, I've got a 26 tonne, but it's doing nothing. I'm going to put it out a 7.5 tonne job, which is one job less that I can get because someone's already covered it. Or we've got a job here, I'd normally put it on the CX, but we've got our drivers sitting there, we may as well send them out. I've got a route here for an extra long wheelbase, I've got a 7.5 tonner, I'm going to send a 7.5 tonne out. Because I've got to pay him anyway. What's the point of putting a CX pay twice? And that is a thing, I think, with January, it's a concern that people with their own drivers are going to send their own drivers. You're going, aren't you? Your own man with your own van out, rather than have him sit there and do nothing and pay someone else to do it. But it's one job less on the CX. So, Ian McBride says, thank you for the video about what you need as a driver setting up building sites. So I presume that's the PPE video. But you're welcome again, my friend, no problem. Van on the Run says, he's curious now about Amazon Relay, saying jobs for vans. I don't know myself. I mean, I can't see jobs for lorries on Amazon Relay. I haven't got to the bottom of it. I know that you can do it on the computer. I don't think you can do it on the app. I know you have to be registered with them. I also know that if you are registered with them, you have to use your vans to do it. You can't subcontract, despite the fact that people do. It's all a bit of a mystery to me. I can't really speak honestly about it because I don't really know the answers. But if I find out, I'll let you know. And finally, a couple of points. Panda Drone called me. He wanted to come and run with us. And we said, and that was when I said, no, we've stopped doing it. We're not doing that thing anymore. It stopped at Christmas. And he rang me to say he's actually gone out on his own. And he's got himself, and he's got another van, and he's now bought himself a 7-seater car. And he said, I have never been happier. Thank you so much. And, they're the best phone calls in the world. And they ring up and they go, thank you very much, you changed my life. And I'm like, you're fully welcome, my friend. I hope that you go on to bigger and bigger success, and I hope you continue to run, and I hope it makes you happy, because, well, that'd be nice if the world was a happy place. And Ian Merrick says, back to it, I love Ian Merrick. He's kind of, the ideas are over here somewhere. It comes to me in left field. I like that. He says, an idea in this time when things are in lockdown and you can't put leaflets through doors and stuff like that, expand your customer base by reporting potholes. It generates a word of mouth and in a good word in the local community. I have absolutely no idea what you're going on about, but please expand. And it's always lovely to hear from you. So it's good night from me. And I hope you're all well. I hope we get back to normal next week. And I hope you take care, take money.